So this is what I finally came up with. I did the same method of cutting out, just made a duplicate of the C and brought it down slightly to make it look like it's a cast shadow onto the blade, and just changed the direction of the shadows a little bit to cast on the right and then cast down. So just trying to create a weaved in and out effect, just seeing how that looks on dark backgrounds, seeing how it looks on light backgrounds, and seeing what kind of S works. So let's take a pause on this one. We're spending a lot of time on this, and we probably should continue to move on to other concepts so we don't spend too much on a concept that may not even work. So we have 2 of them developed so far. So it'd be interesting to do this one, this knife right here. And what's great is we already have sketched a knife. Let's get this one. So we can copy and paste it. Some of the hard work's already done. And we have our little knife here. We already have crossing chopsticks. We already have crossing chopsticks right here, so that part's already been done. This is really just a same concept, but just a different arrangement. And we have an S and C already. Let's get that back to be a full shape right here. Let's move that out of the way. And it looks like, let's make these a little bit more of a crossing position. And it looks like on the original sketch that I would carve out this little section. So it's using the shape builder tool, and that gave you kind of an open space to kind of lock in the monogram. And that one seems really strange now that I look at it. It looked really cool on the sketch. And let's see, maybe is there something I'm doing wrong? It's just not quite translating really well. So I'm going to abandon that one. That concept is over. So let's see what else we have. And this one looks really cool because I researched kind of sushi and some characters that I can draw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw this one. We have an S. Let's try to find a different typeface for this one. Let's try to find something really uniform. So let's go in similar to the S that I sketched. Avenir looks pretty good. Let's lighten it a little bit. Let's do a dim eye bold Avenir, and sometimes you can modify it yourself. So what I could do, I'm gonna make a copy, and I'm gonna take the original, I'm gonna right click it, and I'm gonna create outline so that I can then soften all those edges. Okay, so we can just quickly go over these characters, and I want these to be nice straight lines. So I'm gonna hold down Shift and then click again, and I'll be able to turn the corner. And just holding down Shift gives you that perfect line here, and just kind of unify that. I would like to round all of these little edges here, so I can select all my strokes, go to my stroke panel and round those caps. So rounding the caps, I can even round the corners too. So that softens everything a little bit. And let's do the same thing with this character. Click, do a nice angle to that. Let's adapt our same stroke thickness. Click, Shift. I'm going to hold down Option, click off, and then I can have a new line. I don't have to sit there and go all the way up here again. Hold down Option, click off, and then I can start a brand new line without having to go anywhere. Those are my characters. Let's see how that looks when I take away the sketch layer. I did that on a black background, so I'll have to reverse the colors here to see it. So lots of little tweaking things I can do. I can even add the shadow here, intersecting the chopsticks. So just drawing a box, just doing it really quickly this time. And now I can make it a light gray to look like it's a shadow cast. And just make sure I get my direct selection tool, and I'm a perfectionist, to just go and make sure all that looks good with the direct selection tool. So let me do a matching typeface here, because I don't think those were matching up like I thought they were. I didn't like the C of the first typeface I used. So let me just go back to Montserrat so that both of these match. So I'm going to make sure they have the same height. All these little things that you go back and forth on in logo design. So when I go back, the balance is completely off. So these characters probably need to be thicker in stroke. So let's increase the stroke on that, but not quite as much. Let's split the difference. And let's make these characters bigger, because right now these characters are too small compared to the other characters. And the highlight of the show is Sushi Club. So S and C should be slightly more prominent than the other characters. So we want to make sure that lines up nicely. Just getting a sense for size. We can perfect it if it ever gets chosen as the concept. We can really get nitpicky, but right now I'm just trying to see if it's viable. So you could see two different typefaces I explored. I also decided to do it's called Kaken. I don't even know if that's the right way you say it, but that's how it's spelled. I decided to explore a serif typeface as well to see if that made it a little bit more elegant or traditional. I'm not sure. So I have two different kind of versions happening here. So I'm going to keep those to the side, and it's making me want to move on to another concept that's similar, where we have kind of the different sushis all the way around. And we can have different varieties of this as well. So kind of more of a seal graphic, where Sushi Club is going to be around in a circle. So let's take, this concept is already developed, so I can just take a copy of this, bring it down here, and make it happen. So let's eliminate the S and the C. Let's put these two characters together. They're supposed to mean sushi in Japanese, but that's another thing I'll need to research even more. And put those on the top. Let's come up, we have the three. Right here I have 4 different sushis, but really the client talked about 3. Nigiri, sashimi, and maki. So let's see if we can't find some pictures on the internet that we can trace over. The great thing is, hey, we've already done some work on this. We already have a maki roll. So let's bring that maki roll in, and I might need to do some adjustments on color. And so that's a path. So let me just go and do an outline of my path. So outline stroke. So now that can all just be united as one thing. Let's get my shape builder tool and just making that all one little object. And I can just get the eyedropper tool and make that white. So I have my maki at the bottom. So this is very similar to the other concept, but we're going to draw a little nigiri and a little sashimi on the right. So let me go find some good reference photos. I'll be right back.